Hello and there. Thank you very much for joining us on the ice. Brought to you by Toby Hockey, Caisse Financial Group, and Pembina Source for Sports. On today's show, we've got a couple of guest clients, I guess, from KAAB Sports Marketing, including Andrew Greenall, of course. We're going to talk about what it's like to be represented by an advising group and a marketing group that's nationally looking for more talent, as well as helping represent male and female players so they're able to attain and get to the next level, whether it be junior hockey, whether it be collegiate hockey, or whether it be simply going through the AA, AAA ranks. The main thing is to understand the rules and regulations to which some of these players and specifically parents may or may not know. And that's why having somebody like KAAB Sports Marketing with you is something that will give you that extra special attention so that all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted, all the exams are taken at the right time, and making sure that your team or your player, is available and not missing any of those doors that could be potentially closed in front of them without knowing. So we'd like to welcome Kessler, Maddox, and of course Andrew on this installment of On the Ice. And as promised, I brought friends with me today. Welcome Kessler, Frazee, Maddox, Daryenka, and of course, Andrew Greenall from KAAB Sports Marketing. Thank you very much for taking some time for joining me today on the ice. How are you everyone doing today?
Pretty good. How are you?
Fabulous. Can't complain. Yourself, Kessler? Pretty good?
Wait, you're like glitching out on my screen.
Oh, okay. Just as long as you can hear me, we'll work on that. It's technical difficulties here during this pandemic, and there's lots going on. Andrew, how you doing today?
Doing great, buddy. Thanks for having me back. Appreciate it.
Always great to have some friends with us today. Let's first off say welcome to Maddox and Kessler, two of your sports athletes that you work with. Andrew, give us a bit of a breakdown on how you first found both of these athletes and how you've been able to represent them here in their short time with you.
Well, we first met Kessler probably about 3 years ago. She resided out in BC, and at the time we watched her at a few of her games. She played boys, I think, the majority of her life, and she was at a girls' camp that was being ran by one of our good friends at Canadian Hockey Enterprises, and we just approached her mom, talked about it back then, and it was something they were looking at. They weren't sure if Kessler was going to move into the girls' hockey or not, or just stay in the boys. And when they had moved out to Ontario, her mom called and said, you know what, we think it's time. We need someone to help us look at the long term and look at what Kessler can and can't do and how she can and can't get there. And then with Maddox, long story short, with that kid, he finally did his hair today. I'm proud of him. Usually wears a ball cap. Maddox, I've known him now for what, about 5 years, Maddox, I think?
Yeah, I'd say about that.
And we watched him back when he was playing Pee Wee. Always seemed to get overlooked. And after, careful watching and understanding more about the sport as an advisor, we were able to implement some things with his dad. It started to happen. He started to get better. And then I think about 2 years ago is when his dad really was like, yeah, you know what, we need this. We need to get Maddox, at a higher level than he's at. What can you guys do for us? So that's pretty much the background on those two.
Perfect.
They've been a great crew to work with, actually. They're very open to change. They're very open to wanting to achieve the goals that we've somewhat set forward for them. One of their goals right away was to get into the CSSHL. So that's one thing we've been all working hard over this pandemic to try to help them with.
No doubt. So great to finally see two of your, I guess you want to call them players. We don't call them clients because they're not really of age yet. We won't call that bit. Bottom line, Kessler, I got to ask you this first question. Playing with the guys versus playing with the girls, making that jump, how difficult was that for you?
I can't hear you guys because you're like glitching out. I don't
Okay.
know.
Hold on a sec. I'll get you to rejoin in a sec. Hang on, Kessler. I'm going to ask Maddox this question. Maddox, being overlooked over your career, as Andrew has said for a little bit, give me an idea what that means to you as a player, and how does that fuel the fire, knowing that you've got someone in your back pocket now with Andrew helping get you guys more vision as well as being well looked at throughout, possibly making it to the next level?
Well, for sure, I gotta say being overlooked isn't the best feeling growing up playing hockey, but now having Andrew and kind of having that extra support to kind of get me out there, it's really great. Growing up, being overlooked, of course, over my years of playing, it kind of gave me a bit more drive and motivation just to get to that next step and keeps building up. So it basically pushes you to the next level. And now to have Andrew helping me get all the exposure and basically getting me to the next step supportly, then I think it's really great. It's a good feeling for sure to have someone there.
So Maddox, tell me a little bit about your career prior to meeting or with Andrew. You know, growing up, what position you play, what number you wear. Is there a certain reason why you wear the number? Your favorite team? Give us a little background of who Maddox Darawanka is.
So I started by playing hockey at the age of 3 years old. My family's a pretty big hockey family, especially my dad. And the first thing I ever wore, I think, in my life was a Montreal Canadiens jersey. And from that instant, I knew it was time to play. So basically, I've just grown up. First off, I thought hockey was just all around fun sport. There were many options, but it always attracted me of the culture of the game, how great it is. And I started off as a winger because back then my favorite player was Taylor Hall, and he keeps switching between positions. But I started off as a winger. Then I started getting up. I started growing up a bit. In Adam, I became a defenseman. So yeah, I'd say that's pretty much position-wise. And I wear number 16 mainly because my favorite player now is PK Subban, and unfortunately, we can't go up to number 76 for association. So I chose 16 because I felt it resembled the closest to him. And yeah, basically I try to model my game after him. He's a great player and he's a great guy for the community. So yeah, I tried to model my number after him. And yeah, basically he kind of led me to be a defenseman in a way. I look up to a lot of defensemen in the NHL.
That's awesome. So do you play defense now, or you play either position, wherever you got to go?
Currently I still play defense. I have since my first year of Adam, and more specifically since my first year of spring hockey, I started to play defense. I felt I was more fit for the position. My backwards skating, it really picked up quicker than I find against most people. So I felt it was a good thing to have in my back pocket. And I'd say I'm a pretty good defensive player. So yeah, I've basically been playing defense ever since, and I've loved the position. It's a lot of fun to play for sure. It makes hockey tons of fun.
Absolutely. Let's see if we can get Kelsey back in here. If she's still kind of playing around, kind of glitching out on us. I'm going to ask you one more question while she joins, Maddox. When it comes to understanding positions, is it important for at a young age to know or play each position based on roles and your job description, knowing that moving forward you could be a plug and play kind of player that's more versatile than others?
Yeah, honestly, I'd have to agree with that. It's definitely important to know how to play your position. Like for defense, it's good to know the defensive end of the game because that's the name of the position. But I think that on top of learning positional play from a young age, you also gotta kind of discover the other parts of it. Like for a defenseman, if you're playing defense, you gotta learn offense too. So yeah, I'd say for a young age, it's definitely important for them to learn that positional play growing up. Learn from coaches, watch some hockey games, kind of see how all the top players do it. And yeah, I'd say for sure it's definitely good so that you keep that in your mind going forward, how to play position and just I'd say enjoy it, and the more you do that, then the better you will learning. So the better you will do learning. So I'd say that's definitely an important thing for sure.
No doubt. I'm going to ask you this question real quick, Andrew, while we get Kessler back on here. When you have a player that's versatile like this, how has it helped you when it comes to marketing this player for specific roles or positions, especially in the academy programs in the CSSHL that are looking for not just plug and play, but guys that can, or players that can have, a role front and back?
That's a great question. I think what we've definitely found with Maddox is that he is a versatile player. Oh, she's back.
Yeah.
Hey, Kessler.
Hi.
That he is a versatile player. So when we were able to market him to a few of the Canadian Sports League teams, in his bio that we wrote that he did start playing positions both forward and D, much stronger in D, but is a versatile player that you can throw out there on a power play for a center position or a defensive position. So I think a player like Maddox is, especially with his height and his strength and his knowledge and his hockey IQ, it gives us more of leverage, if you will, to try to get them a good spot or even a good rating with a team. With Maddox, there was quite a few teams that did come back and that were interested in him for this upcoming season, which is great. We put together a media package, if you will, like a scouting report on him. So yeah, it definitely does help having a versatile player that has that knowledge and ability.
Kessler, can you hear me okay now?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to ask you the same question because while you were gone, we got Maddox to explain a little about himself. Give us a quick little bio of your hockey career growing up. I mean, Andrew kind of touched base on BC and then playing with the boys and then moving to Ontario. And tell us where you're at now and what you've been able to do in your hockey career.
Right now, I played house and a little bit of select and girls hockey last year. I started off the year in girls hockey, but then it just wasn't a good fit for me, so I went back to boys. And then I grew up playing in BC most of my life, and I played boys hockey most of my life as well, travel and house. So yeah.
So for both of you, first Kessler, I'm gonna ask you this question. What is it about the boys game that you like the most?
I like it's quite fast, and it's a different game style. I don't really know how to explain it, and but I like the speed and I think that's the most, I think.
Okay, it is a faster game. We can definitely attest to that. It's a different style of skills as well. Are you more of a how do I say this? More of an aggressive player or more passive?
I don't know. I guess I'm kind of in between, more on the aggressive side, but more kind of in between.
Okay, so I'm going to ask this question to the both of you because both of you are players that work with KAAB Sports Marketing. I'll start with Maddox here. Maddox, what has KAAB done for you since you've been able to work with Andrew and his group of advisors to reach some of those goals on the ice?
Well, KAAB Marketing, to start off, they've got me out there for exposure-wise. They helped me set up a profile so that coaches can learn a bit more about me and see what kind of player I am. They've also set me up with a personal trainer to keep reaching my fitness goals to make sure I'm the best that I can be for the seasons to come. And they've just done a good job marketing. Andrew, he's helped guide me to what areas of my game I need to focus on, the good and the bad, what I can improve on and all. So yeah, they've done a lot of really great stuff for me to help me focus in on my career and make sure that I'm working on the right things and basically getting out there and making sure that I get the best chance to show myself to everyone.
Absolutely. Kessler, I'm going to ask you the same question. What have you been able to get accomplished with the help of KAAB Sports Marketing?
I've got accomplished he made sure that the right team I was sorry.
Breathe, it's okay. It's all right. Angie, maybe you want to help Kessler with that one? Just kind of give us an explanation on I mean, it sounds like it's, it's not difficult, but it's, I mean, getting the representation and the right people looking at you at the right time, correct?
Yeah. So with
Yeah.
Kessler, with Kessler being all the way out in Ontario, it's been a little bit more difficult for us to find a lot of training because they've during the COVID right now, they're really still under a lockdown. So with Kessler, her and her brother are both out there shooting pucks, doing training on their own. So at this point, we just felt that it would be easier to let them continue doing what they're doing. They live out in an area where they're pretty much secluded, so there's no one really around them when they go to their farm. So they're able to get out there, throw bales around, chase the cows, chase the horses, and that right there in itself is training. So we just felt to leave her out there and do what she's currently doing. They're doing awesome. Both of them are doing awesome.
Kessler, you have an older brother or younger brother?
I have a younger brother.
Younger brother? So
Yeah.
tell me, like, this training sounds a little bit Rocky IV-esque. I mean, the reason why I say it like that is because Rocky gets sent to the middle of nowhere, Russia, and he has to use every bit of resource around him, from horses to cattle reins to hay bales to rocks to chains. Tell me what kind of training you've been able to do, Kessler, amidst, what we've been going through here in this pandemic.
So what I've been able to do is, like, we do a lot of like sprints on the farm, and then we have like we do live videos with coach in BC, and then we also like help with on the farm and stuff, and like, I don't know, just kind of like got to think outside the box a little bit, but like
absolutely you got to think inside the fence but outside the box, right? Who chases the animals if they get loose, you or your brother? Or do you have a quad for that?
They haven't gotten loose, so I don't know.
That's okay. Good answer. Awesome. So Maddox, you've been a little more fortunate with having a trainer with you. Do you also, because of the issue, have you been doing a lot of video work and a lot of video chats with your trainers as well?
Yeah, I've been not as much video chats, but I've been in communication for sure. I've been emailing back and forth different kind of workouts that we've worked on before that have been proven effective for my training. And yeah, I'm in pretty much constant communication, sometimes video chats, so that I could basically do the workout the right way, so I could get the most out of it pretty much.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, everyone. Don't go anywhere. We're going to talk a little bit about goals on and off the ice and what you aspired to be when growing up. So stay with us, all right? We'll be right back. We're back here on the ice with Maddox, Darawenka, Andrew Greenall of KAAB Sports Marketing, and Kessler Frazee. We talked a little bit about training. Let's talk a little bit about the goals we're going to be attaining with the help of KAAB Sports Marketing. Let's first start off with Maddox. What are your goals next year come the fall? Should we be able to play on the ice?
My goals for this upcoming season, like you said, if we are able to get on ice, are to be basically the best player I can be on the ice. Make sure that I'm the best out there. By being also a good teammate, making sure that I'm making smart, effective plays, and just basically making sure that at the final buzzer, our team's on top. Make sure that everyone's in the right kind of frame of mind, and that we all work together. Good chemistry is key for sure.
Kessler, for yourself, should you be able to get back on the ice, where would you like to be playing, and how would you like to continue with maintaining some of your goals here in the upcoming season? Kessler, you there? She's got frozen.
I can't hear you guys again. You're glitching out. So
Okay.
I don't know.
Can you tell me some of your goals for the upcoming year? All right, we're still having some difficulties with Kessler there. Andrew, I'm going to ask you this question: how are you going to be able to how are you going to be able to properly put Kessler in a good spot for next year if she's able to play hockey in Ontario?
Well, to be honest with you, Theo, what we've done this year is we've been able to sign Kessler, Maddox, and Kessler's brother, all with Coeur d'Alene, Idaho's hockey academy. It took about 2 months of hard work putting together a media package of both of them. And in that package, like we've spoken about before, we've included a bio. We've included a few videos of them, either practicing on or off the ice, maybe some showing them some of their workouts that they do at home. Then we had a brief write-up about their past seasons. And in that, it just highlighted goals, strengths, weaknesses. Weaknesses aren't bad to tell a coach. It gives them something to look at and then be able to assist the player with. In that package as well, it included some information about where they wanted to go for college or university, what they're looking for in the future at this current date. It obviously changes as they get older. And then from there, we sent out the email to the schools that both of them had listed that they were interested in. Out of the schools that they were interested in, 3 came back to us. Out of the 3, they all chose, oddly enough, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I don't know why. That's something you need to discuss with them. Just as their advisors, we were able to point out the pros and cons of every school, the pros and cons of the distances from where they would be living, the pros and cons of being on that team. And with the CSSHL back, I believe it was in March, correct me, Theo, if I'm wrong, but I believe it was in March they made the announcement that they're moving all 13 girls teams into the U18 program. And then with the male program, they somewhat dropped the U15 elite and moved it into a U16-17 split.
Yeah, they've amalgamated the two. They've made 2 major divisions now, and they made that because I know the Pilot Mountain had the same mentions when they were moving up into their program. So it's going to look a little different, but it's going to look a little more, I think, more of a power ranking, so to speak, for making sure they're putting the right ages together. And I've got Kessler back here. Let's get her to join me if she's available. Still not there. Maddox, I'm going to ask you this: why Coeur d'Alene, Idaho? Have you ever been there?
No, I haven't ever been to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I've only heard great things about the city. It's really beautiful from what I've seen from it. Sounds like it has a great community, lots of really nice people there. And really, I think the reason why I chose Coeur d'Alene, Idaho is United States. It's one of my favorite countries, I'd say, of course, because it borders Canada. I've only been there a few times, and I've always liked the thought of going to play down in the U.S. So I think it's really cool for sure. They got a great set of staff down there. The coach, he's awesome, and they've been really helpful, really good and on point with everything. And they've made it feel very welcoming for sure. It's been a great experience so far, and I can't wait till the season starts.
Is this your first year playing academy hockey?
Yes, this is my first year.
You're going to be involved in a different environment in terms of athletics and academics together, Maddox. How are you looking forward to that challenge?
I'm looking forward to it for sure. I always like a good challenge of trying something new, something that's a bit out of my comfort zone for sure. I'm excited because it's going to push me more academically to make sure that grades stay to the best that they can be. And it's a really good hockey program for sure. So it'll also push me basically athletically. So I'm super excited for it. It's definitely a new experience. It's going to be a good challenge for sure, but I'm super excited for it.
Right on. So what are your strengths in the classroom? What kind of topics of subject do you like to study?
Personally, I really like social, English, and probably science, I'd say. I've always liked learning about history. It's one of those things that I think is pretty cool. Science, I've just loved my entire life. I've loved doing experiments in the classroom and stuff, just learning about kind of the environment and everything around us. And English, I've been a writer my whole life. I used to write stories when I was like 6 years old and present them to the class. So I've always liked English. So yeah, those three I'd say for sure are definitely my strengths, and I enjoy them a lot.
Perfect. Kessler, we got you back. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so Andrew filled me in on while we were getting hold of you. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. That's the next destination for your hockey career. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Idaho?
No, I've actually never been to the.
This is your first time to the States.
Yeah.
How exciting are you, and having your brother with you, a little bit of family going with you, so it won't feel too crazy homesick. But tell me what you'd hope to expect in the fall.
I'm like really excited, and I'm like so glad that my brother's coming with me and I've already like talked to a few of my teammates, but I'm expecting like it's gonna be a lot of training, and I'm really excited for that, and like a lot of ice, and I'm also excited for that. So yeah.
That's a big plus for playing in an academy. Andrew and I have talked about that. The availability of ice time and practice time and the resources are immense when it comes to these academies in the CSSHL. After school, I'm going to ask you, Kessler, just so I don't lose you real quick. What do you like? What are your favorite topics and subjects in class, and what would you like to be after your hockey career?
Okay, my favorite subject would probably be science. I just like learning about like biology and like more like actually like more earth science. So I like to know like about the earth and like the environment and all that stuff. And after hockey, I want to like open up my own academy and be a coach. So yeah.
That's a pretty cool goal. That's right on. I think that having this experience will definitely prepare you for that. And Maddox, yourself, you're kind of like that utility tool. You know, you're the utility tool on the ice. You're the utility tool in the classroom. After graduation, you thinking college? You thinking university? What are you thinking after your hockey career?
After my hockey career, I'm thinking a lot of things towards astronomy and stuff. Space has always interested me. Or some like maybe a scientist. I've also really enjoyed chemistry in school. Or just honestly something in athletics, like maybe a coach or just a trainer or something, you know, help out kids younger than me kind of get to that next level. I've always enjoyed working with kids younger than me. It's honestly a joy to just teach them and kind of see what I went through when I was younger and get to see it from a new perspective. Other than that, honestly, not sure yet. It's still a work in progress, but I'm leaning towards those for sure.
Hey, but at least he's got his hair down, right, Theo? He's got his hair done today.
You know what? Both players, I want to thank you. Guys look very good on the camera, number one. Number two, I know this is a first for both of you. I want to say thank you very much for joining me today on the ice. With your advisor, Andrew Greenall here. And I have to say, truly an amazing group of athletes you're working with, Andrew. Don't go away. I'm going to say goodbye to Maddox. I'm going to talk quickly with Andrew right after the break, and we'll finalize this show of On the Ice. Thanks, Maddox, again. Have a great day.
Thanks, Theo. Thanks for having me. Have a great day.
You're welcome. We'll be right back on the ice here. Andrew, don't go anywhere. We've still got some talking. All right, Angie, we're back. Fine. Let's wrap this up a little bit. We talked about the goals on and off the ice for these players. During these times, how hard is it to really keep a focus for these players?
You know, we briefly spoke about that in our last show. I think if they have the motivation and they have the drive, it's really easy to keep them going. But I think it gets harder because you haven't been able to see your friends for so long. You haven't been on the ice. You haven't got to do your usual routine of maybe go to school, come home, eat dinner type thing, and maybe hit the ice for a bit or go to the gym. So it's like I said last show, we still send them emails at least once a week or once a month, depending on where they are and where they're at in the program. So it's not that difficult, Theo, but it's hard to try to keep positive yourself and be able to pass that through to them when you talk to them.
I think we would both agree that during this current situation, we've really learned how to use technology to our advantage to maintain communication. I think that's the most important thing. I mean, even a simple hello, how are you, to, you know, simple things like that, to even to, you know, a full workout regime for the week. It's just maintaining that communication, that connection that you may not have in person, but at least you have through a video conference or some sort of form, correct?
Yeah, I would agree. Like just hanging out with you once a week.
Oh, thanks, Andrew. Right? We kid about jerseys and we kid about that, but the long story short is I think you and I both have a passion to see and help athletes and student athletes excel to the next level. We've talked off camera many times about this and the importance of having good representation. And I don't want to use that SCAM word when it comes to, you know, finding the right people to help you. But having both Maddox and Kessler on with us today, it really shows how well-rounded your sports marketing group is in terms of finding the correct key to keyhole function and fitting them in the right place, not just letting them go to water. You can always take a horse to water. You can't teach him how to drink. But more importantly, your program and your marketing group is taking the pros and the cons, like you said, not making cons look like they're bad things, making them look like they are positives that can be worked on, and really facilitating the strengths of each player to an appropriate school. And I think that is a true key concept that is overlooked tremendously. And I know you'll agree with this because when you see or you hear of a player that's 2 or 3 years down the road and they say those infamous words that just wasn't a right fit, or it just didn't click, or I lost interest, or I was burnt out. Those 4 phrases that are used are ones as an advisor you don't want to hear from one of your clients.
It's very true. Yeah. It's we got to work together with them. And we work at their pace. Like Kessler is a few years younger than Maddox. Her brother's a few years younger than her. So we do adapt to each player, bringing on more of our advisors throughout North America. We're noticing that, you know, we do have to adapt to each player. You know, we may find a player that's like Maddox that's just, you know, on their own. You know, we've set stuff up for them. They're enjoying the routine. They're keeping up with it. And then we may find a player that, in Kessler's case, they're out in, we do have an agent out in Ontario, but in order to keep everything going with them out there, it's best just to let them work at their own pace. So we do adapt. And I do agree. Yeah, like I don't want to hear any player going burnt out. Like we said before, and I don't know if it was on camera or off camera, but, you know, I encourage all of our clients to try different sports. You know, don't, you know, go out, play soccer, you know, baseball behind you there, go out and try baseball, try swimming.
Cross-training is always a key concept when it comes to raising young athletes. And, you know, a lot of our role models now have come out and said cross-training for them has been a huge proponent to their excellence in and on the field, but also in terms of their hand-eyes and their other qualities that they're able to work on. It's because of those other sports that they're still being heightened. And you definitely see an increase in sports specification later on in your years, because you have to usually pick 1 or 2 sports to work on. But when you're younger, work on them all. Throw the ball as far as you can. Hit the ball as hard as you can. Grab a golf club and start swinging. Swing a baseball bat if it's the wrong way. For these players, I mean, even like you talk about, Kessler working out. Those are different life skill workouts that you would normally do on an average day-to-day basis in that environment. She's on a farm. She's in the field versus a city kid who has to yearn for some form of weights or a gym or a workout facility to get to. I mean, I don't know the last time you chucked hay bales around, Angie, but I did it about 2 weeks ago. It's still a workout.
It is, yeah.
And for young kids to do that, it's twisting, turning, height, hip explosion, you name it. It's all there. And, I'm a huge, growing up with, sports science and sports psychology and sports specification with the CSCS program that I have, you learn about using your own body weight and how to monitor and function your own body weight the best to its ability. You can lift.
Maddox pointed out his new idol is PK.
Yeah.
So that guy, amazing. I don't know if you or any of our viewers have actually watched his training, but unbelievable. He lifts his dogs. He'll lift that concrete barrier. You got to work with what's around you.
They're doing cinder block military presses. He's got Lindsey Vaughn's probably one of the most courageous female skiers in the last 50 years. What she's gone through in her career and the determination she has. That's probably one of the, talk about having support.
Yeah. That's
a huge support person for PK.
Yeah.
We'll worry about his antics on the ice later. We won't talk about that. But, I mean, from a workout perspective, from an ambassador of the sport, and for being a good community citizen like Maddox brought out, those are pretty good high qualities for a player to have. I wouldn't have expected PK Subban. That's kind of a mark off, the right side. But you know what? Good for Maddox. And I mean, for Kessler, it's going to be a wide eye-opening experience for her and her brother, and for Maddox going to Coeur d'Alene next year. Hopefully, they have a good time with that.
They will. I hope they do, and we're there to support them throughout their entire playing career. There, we will be there to support them. We'll help them any way we can. We'll still be, marketing them to colleges and universities, trying to get them interested in them, and try to help them, with their ultimate dream. Hopefully, we'll be able to send Maddox up to the moon so we can get him out of here. But
get him out of here. He's
a good kid.
Both very good players, both very good heads on their shoulder. I want to thank you, Angie, for your time today. Really appreciate bringing the forefront to the forefront when it comes to getting a not an affidavit, but a word from current players that are working with you, because it's always a good thing to see. For prospective clients and prospective players that are looking for some sort of mentorship and advising. KAAB Marketing, is it KAABmarketing.ca still?
Yes, sir.
So KAAB Marketing.ca. Reach out to Andrew, get in touch with him, whether you're in BC or in the Maritimes. They will help represent you and get you to that next level for you. Andrew, have a great rest of the day. Hopefully you have a chance to take those pictures down behind you. And we'll talk to you shortly.
Look at this guy, Mr. Sotheby.
Oh, my gosh.
Now there's an idol right there.
We'll have more time next time to talk about Mr. Sotheby. Thanks for joining us here on the ice. Andrew, would appreciate your time. And like I said, have a great rest of the day. We'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Look for all of these episodes on all of our social media platforms. You can find us on YouTube, of course, Facebook. We have our premieres up there on Facebook, and we'll soon come to you on Apple TV and Roku. So thank you very much, and have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.